Today, during the time for Young at Heart, it's probably one of the most memorable and important times we've had together, and probably one of the most important in my entire life. We talked about respect, kindness, and integrity, because in 2 weeks, the Young at Heart is leading the service. So May 5th, we hope you'll all come and help support us. We'll be joined by Dreams Come True Music Studio and the Committee of Faith Musical Theater. And what was really special about this message is it hits home personally. And we're very grateful that today we have Mr. Cunningham here, who's going to help us. And we also have the father of Myles, who was tragically killed. And I don't know if you can see at home the picture of Myles. And up here we have Mike sharing his story. So please join us May 5th as we learn how to make this world better. And we'll do this in honor of Myles. And Stu's going to talk briefly about something that happened years ago with Thames Valley. And then Mike's going to share his story. Thank you, everyone.
Many of you will remember the case of Myles Neuts, a young boy who tragically died in the washroom of an elementary school. And if you were an elementary school teacher or a principal or an EA, you will remember that case. And as a principal of an elementary school, we have dealt with bullying, tried to deal with bullying in our schools for many years. The Thames Valley School Board, currently, you will read about stories about programs, inclusion, programs about diversity that they're trying to implement. Bullying is still a problem for many students in our schools, and we're very fortunate that Mr. Neuts is going to be here at Siloam United Church on May the 5th. And if you have grandchildren or you have friends with children, I would encourage you to invite them and you to come and hear Mr. Neuts. He has a very important message, and he presents it in a very interesting way. So I hope you will join us. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the invite with this fine musical group to be here today and in 2 weeks from now. I'll give you a brief overview of my morning of Friday, February 6, 1998, 26 years ago. Got up early, went to work in the factory. I was involved in the union. It was a very busy morning. At about 20 after 12, my wife called. She had no angst in her voice. She had no panic. There was nothing to hint that my life was about to change the way it did. She had just gotten home. She was putting groceries in the cupboard. The phone rang. It was a teacher from school. She did not identify herself. She did not identify which boy we were talking about. We later on learned she was also entering stages of panic and grief. She simply said, "Hi, Brenda. One of the boys is choking. Can you or Mike come to the school?" And she hung up. Brenda didn't read into it. Did a couple more things, called me at work and said, "Hey, the school just called. One of the boys is choking." I immediately was overwhelmed. I dropped the phone. I ran out of the office, down the stairs, through the factory, blew past the security guards. I raced through the city, turned a corner at Richmond and LaCroix, hit the track so fast that I didn't touch the ground for 20 feet on the other side, pulled up in time to see a paramedic shutting the rear doors of his ambulance. I ran up to him and asked him if there was a little boy in there. He said yes. I said, "I'm going with you." Jumped in the front of the ambulance. The school was only 5 minutes away from the emergency department of the hospital. We drove over there. The driver and I got out, went to the rear doors. Embedded in my memory is the Chatham City police officer and the other paramedic doing CPR on my oldest son. His pants were soiled, and I knew he was gone. They pushed me aside. They rushed him inside the hospital, put me in a small waiting room off the main waiting room. First person to join me was the police officer, and I asked him, "Do you know what happened to my son?" He did not answer me, maybe because of his training, maybe because he knew already this wasn't going to work out well. Next person to join me was my wife. I lied to her and told her I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to see what I knew would be her emotions. And then a priest joined us. And a while later, they finally came to us and said we could see our son. And that was just before they airlifted him here. He was here on the corner of Commissioners and Wellington Road in the child special unit. And we spent 6 days here, and obviously things didn't change. Myles was brain dead. The machine was the only thing keeping him alive. And then it was placed on my wife and I to do something that nobody should have to do, when all we did is what most of you have or still do every week, every day, and send your children to school. About my son, Myles. His nickname was Smiles. He was a happy-go-lucky kid. Everybody liked him. His educators, the administration, the little kids, his own classmates. Probably there was some jealousy, especially from the leader of the bullies, because of that. I never questioned that at the coroner's inquest. His mother would have to ask me to clean out his pockets because he'd pick up all the litter in the schoolyard, the bubble gum wrappers, the candy sticks, the apple cores, and of course there was ants living in his pocket. He was friendly, he was kind, he was respectful, he had pets. His teachers said he wasn't that athletic or an outdoorsy kid, but he loved camping and learned how to ride his bike in Rondo Park. This is a poem that Myles wrote. He was in grade 4, and he got his first male teacher. And his class had come from kindergarten all the way to grade 5 when this tragedy fell upon him. In grade 4, on March 25th, 1997, he wrote this poem. It'll talk about a boy filled with kindness and peace. What is peace? To me, peace is love instead of hate. Peace is truth instead of lies. Peace is nature in a clean world. Peace is comments instead of complaints. So share instead of greed. Tell the truth instead of lies. Tell comments instead of complaints. Be kinder to others. Do whatever you can do to be more peaceful. If it means praying to God more or read more of the Bible. Don't swear or fight. Just be more peaceful to yourself and to others. I hope my poem has made you more peaceful for our world, by Myles Neuts. I miss him, I love him, and I'm super proud of him for those words alone. In 2005, we were successful with the help of a lawyer firm here in London to establish our nonprofit, a registered nonprofit. It's called the Myles Neuts Make Children Better Now Association. The acronym being the initials off Make Children Better Now, also being the initials of my son's name. And that's Myles Casey Benson Neuts, Make Children Better Now. The mission statement for Make Children Better Now is an organization dedicated to the lives of children. Our goal is to provide education, support, and structure to the young people in our society, individually or with like-minded organizations. We seek to teach children empathy, care, love, dignity, and respect. Peace, structure, life, trust, hope, and failure. How to learn, how to live, how to cope, how to love. And if you become a member of MCBN, we pledge with strong heart and firm conviction to support the work of MCBN Children's Association that being the opportunity to further and champion the rights of children to a full and complete life of education, happiness, and freedom to be a child and play free of harassment, bullying, and inappropriate behavior. So it's a strong task we've taken on, along with people in this group. I would love to change the world overnight. I know that's next to impossible, but it's not from a lack of effort and a lack of trying. Thank you for having me here today, and I expect I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mike. It was, as you can tell, a truly special time with you. Before we do, and with our blessing, we had 3 members that want to ask 3 questions. We're going to start with Mariel.
Losing a child is a horrible tragedy. Does sharing your message publicly help you deal with that?
It's the strongest medicine I can possibly have. I didn't see it coming. I didn't expect it coming, but my heart is full every time I do, irregardless of the good, the bad, and the ugly that I may or may not hear on any occasion.
Thank you, Mariel. Ella.
How do you think we can make schools a better place?
We practice. We practice being kind. We practice having smiles. We practice respect for everyone and anyone. So that just doesn't fall on educators and students. It falls on adults, parents, grandparents, anyone that is in the life of a child.
Thank you. And Colin.
Did the bully's parents do anything about the situation?
The bully's parents, is my presumption that they were in shock. Their sons were accused of something pretty sad. I would think that they went out and got counseling for their children. And other than that, I don't have any other knowledge of what they may or may not have done with their own sons.
Thank you. And Mike taught us about your passion for kindness, integrity, and respect. So I hope you'll all join us May 5th. And we're going to close, as we always say.
Until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Let's take a big bow, everyone. Thank you. Okay.